Composure, composure, composure. Good morning, St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Welcome to Activated Morning for today, Monday, January 9th, 2023. You're locked on to WFM 99.9. However, you're listening wherever you are across the length and breadth of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, the rest of the region, US, UK, Canada, Asia, Africa, whatever temperature you find yourself either snuggled up or I don't know, maybe you're exercising at this time. Nevertheless, whatever you're doing, wherever you are, good morning and welcome. Happy New Year. If it is the first time that we are communicating, Happy New Year. Happy New Year, Dr. Thompson.
Happy New Year. Happy New Year to all the listeners. Activated Morning. Lovely outside. A little bit of rain, but
Yeah.
2023 is going to be a long recovery coming out of La Soufrière eruption and I would say maybe the tail end of the pandemic. It's great. It's great being here this morning.
It's great to have you. It feels like such a long time since we've had a morning together.
Yes.
Since last year, not true? Since before Christmas?
That's right. That's right. I mean, I've been here on Wednesday nights, I've been down here on Wednesday nights because that hasn't been affected by the holiday session and doing my own thing, talking about health issues and so.
Okay, that's good.
But there's some bigger issues today.
Yeah.
And I hope we can really talk about the big things that are happening today and so.
Okay. I don't know if you were able to take in that song by Brother Ebony that was played a few minutes ago, Nothing at All, where he's speaking about, I don't know, I think that was just a lovely song. It's very creative, something that artists could take a couple notes from. He was able to speak about or share names of many of the places in St. Vincent and Grenadines, and just say Brother Ebony has nothing at all. Rose has a hall. Tromoka has a. What does Tromoka has? Tromoka has a car. Tromo has a car.
Oh.
Right, and Rose is a bank. And so many other things in there, but you have to listen to it. It's a really nice song, but it got me thinking of how many Vincentians can that song relate to. You've gone through life, you are maybe 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, and you have not acquired anything. When I say anything, I mean property, land, any sort of tangible asset or anything at all. I mean, you've been working 8 to 4, 9 to 5, some people 12 to 12 and 12 to 12, you know what I mean, AM, PM, and they are not able, or they have not thought that it was fit for them to work towards acquiring either land or property.
Well, Christal, I'm a little surprised what you're saying. But you're absolutely right. But I want to go back something like 20 or 30 years, 40 years. The amount of teachers who used to live with their parents up until the age of 40, 50. The amount of young persons who, as you say, never had an opportunity. But I want to say that there's been, I think, one of the great features of St. Vincent and the Grenadines is about people actually owning property. I think that it is significant, and not just owning land, but actually owning a home on top of land. And certainly there are a number of young persons of your age who may not have that as yet. But think about all the programs that have been, I could rattle off a couple. Do you know about the 10 cents a square foot land? In places like Rosebank, as you mentioned, Darview, there's an area just beyond. Do you know nobody?
Where?
There's an area just beyond Rosebank called Darview.
That's not the same as Darkview.
There is an area called Darkview Falls.
Right.
And there's an area called Darkview. The word Darkview comes from the term, it gets dark in the early evening as the sun is going down.
Mhm.
So they call them dark view because of the sheer steep hills between them. So those areas are sheltered from some of the sunlight and they call it dark view. So there are two dark views.
Oh,
I understand.
dark. Oh, I thought you were saying Darview.
Well,
Like Darwin Charles. Dar. Sorry.
In short, we call it dark view,
Oh.
but it's really termed dark view. But that takes too long to say dark view. Is it dark view? You know what I mean?
Kelakwa.
Like, if you were to call it that. But do you know,
Those
let
are
me tell you something.
Kelakwa.
Do you
Uh-huh.
know the whole of Fichus, the whole of Sharps, Chateaubriand, a big part of Pittibadel, half of Rose, you know an area called Charles Village in Spring Village?
No. Is that when you cross the bridge, you go
When you
take a
cross the
right?
bridge and you make a left. Okay,
Spring Village, you know.
if you come in from Kingston, if you're going from Kingston up into North Leeward, up
Right.
into
I
North
got
Leeward.
that.
As soon as you hit an area called Mongaroo, you make a left.
Hold on. You're going too fast. As soon as you hit an area called.
Ebony, if you listen to Ebony's spoken about a lot of these things.
You're right, but
Charles has a village. He mentioned that.
but I don't know where Charles Village is.
Well, Charles Village is, as you enter into, it's part of Spring Village, but as you go across the Cumberland Bridge, you said you make a right move, but you make a left, as if you're heading further up the Leeward coast.
So just continue on the main
Just
road.
continue. And all those houses you see along there, Charles Village.
Okay.
Do you know, none of those people actually had a deed for their land? Do you know 7% of the people in Spring Village owned their land? Right? 7% of the people in Spring Village. And I could go through Sandy Bay and Owie and Fancy. A lot of people in this country had built houses or was sitting in a house but didn't own the land. So they didn't have a deed for the land they were at. So you could say the land didn't have a real value, a bankable value. And those lands would have been valued for $5-6 a square foot.
Mm.
The government sold them the land for 10 cents a square foot. Some places 25 cents a square foot. And did a special arrangement where they didn't have to go through a lawyer. They could just get it from the Attorney General to do the legal transaction. You have to pay to get the deed and pay, pay me $15 or something like that. And they were able to only pay a 10 cents a square foot, something like for a 700 square foot lot, pay $220 or $300 and own the land. Now, do you know the amount of low-income houses that have been built? Do you know the amount of no-income houses that have been built? No income. Do you know, in terms of the elderly, there's been programs to renovate and build houses for the elderly? When you're saying people are living the age of 80 and plus civil servants, the police, and so getting 100% mortgage. It was no money down. You go to a credit union, you go to the bank, and you basically are able to build a house. First of all, buy land and build a house. And, I think that's really remarkable. So I've always said that one of the reasons why maybe the pandemic didn't really affect us in as great a way as some large metropolitan cities. In those cities, people live in apartments, high, 25 stories, 40 stories with the air conditioning being shared, the air system. But in Singapore, some people live in separate houses, separated a little bit. And I think that's it. But there's no doubt that a lot of young people who would have normally been living in their parents' house, up in Green Hill, up in over in Edinburgh, in Diamond, in Manning Village, in a lot of places around the country, down in Peters Hope, they were able to get these low-income houses, 2-3 bedroom houses for, you could say, on the $60,000, $70,000, $80,000.
That's not a bad price.
Well, the prices have gone up since material has gone up. So when I say 60, 70, now
At the
maybe
time.
100 at the time, but it's remarkable. And some of those people have now paid off for their houses already. You know what I mean?
Expanded, went up.
Because of the slopes, they built on the downstairs, they were able
Yeah.
to fill it in, and some even have an apartment. Their kids and so forth have the choice of being able to live downstairs or even getting their own.
Right. I drove through one of the low income houses areas recently,
Yeah,
and it looked so different to the last time I drove through that area,
Yeah.
because I remember it being just tiny homes,
yeah,
but now it's just like really massive homes, like, and it's not just one house that was transformed or
Yeah.
people renovated
Yes,
and added
yes,
on.
yeah.
It's like all the houses.
yes.
I was like, wow.
Because Vincentian have been known in the Caribbean to have that pride. Instead of just having a car and you're blinging it and so forth, having a house. And so what Ebony was saying there, he was celebrating that how some persons have these things,
Except
using
him.
the villages. But you just have to know the steps to go out and do it. And I mean, this program coming up in terms of those bungalows, those prefabricated houses and so forth,
Okay.
they're going to be remarkable because the cost of building the houses have been creeping up. It's no longer the 60, 70, 80,000.
I don't think they're creeping up. They're shooting up.
They're shooting up. So we have to find a cheaper way of building good, high quality houses. And I hope nobody, thinks that, well, these green heart, brown heart houses are going to be in prefab, because they have certain sections of it that are actually stone and concrete as well. But it's going to be really remarkable.
Okay, so let me just share a bit coming from
Sure.
the Agency for Public Information, released the 5th of January.
Yeah.
The government, by the way, the number to call is 457-9997, number to WhatsApp 457-9994. You can just drop a comment on our Facebook Live. The government of St. Vincent and the Grenadines has gone ahead to purchase the first 50 timber prefabricated houses from Guyana. These first set of houses are expected to arrive by the end of March of this year. These houses range in prices from $16,000 US to $38,000 US. One bedroom, which is 333 square feet. Homes are excuse me, I think I need some water. H2O. Yeah. Homes are approximately 16,000 US. The 2-bedroom, which is 526 square feet homes, are approximately 25,000. While the 3-bedroom, 776 square feet homes are approximately 38,000 US dollars. Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves said the quality of the houses are such that they can last a lifetime and can withstand up to Category 4 hurricanes. He said the idea is to have them certainly grounded in the concrete so that we can have perhaps Category 4 resilience. Certainly they are, but if we can get a Category 4 resilience, they are beautifully designed. I think people are going to love them. End of quote. Funding for the houses will be provided by Demerara Bank of Guyana at a cost of $6 million EC dollars. That's a loan at 7 years at 5% interest rate on the declining balance, or some people say reducing balance. We are bearing the cost as a nation. That's what the Prime Minister said. He also added that the kind of investment in housing from this government over the last 20 years is something which is unprecedented. Over 900 houses with varying levels of damage have been repaired and rebuilt since the eruption of La Soufrière. Now, the first thing that crossed my mind, one, didn't realize that they were so costly. I thought they were a little bit, I didn't realize the price was so high, but I guess they are affordable.
The price of 98,000 EC dollars, that is. When you go in US.
Which one you did?
That's a 3-bedroom house.
Right.
Which is a substantial
house. You did 38,000 US.
Yeah.
Okay.
So 25,000, right? We're talking about $60,000+. You know?
Right. I know the 16,000, which is the 1-bedroom home.
Oh, 16. Yeah.
Right. So there are 3 different ones. There's 16K, 25K, and 38K. Yeah. 1, 2, and 3-bedroom respectively. Right. So the 16,000 US, that's equivalent to 43,000. Let's say 44 rounded up $44,000 EC dollars. I didn't realize the cost was so high, and
What?
that
No, come on.
I thought it was going to be a little lower.
You thought it'd be better. No,
like
no.
25,000 EC for a one
No,
bedroom home.
no. You know,
But-
25,000 is 10 US.
10,000 US.
10,000 US.
Yeah.
No, listen. You see, this is what I believe. Remember, you know, in addition, all the electricals, all the water systems, the kitchen, all those other things, those things have to also be replaced. Then the toilet facilities.
So that is outside of the 44,000.
No. I understand as it's prefab.
Right.
I'm not sure if those things are. I think those things are supposed to be included. But
so it's just to like just set up and go.
It's supposed to be, right? It's supposed to be. And then lighting, windows, all those sort of things.
Okay.
And so, you know, it ain't building timber houses and timber. I'll tell you something. When I remember the first place, P.T. Bordell, they did some form of prefab structures there, you know? And the way the roofs were done, and looking at those hurricane resistance, all these things are very important today. But I want to add something.
Mhm.
I would love to see an additional feature now being brought in. You know, I would love to see solar and solar water heating, you know, being part of any kind of housing, right, being done.
Mhm.
Because the solar water heating, giving you hot water, is so important for hygiene coming out of a pandemic. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And additionally, saving on electricity with global gas prices and oil prices, electricity prices, I think we have to be promoting more efficient solar, whether you feed that back into the grid or you're doing it for external lights, you know, for security reasons, you want light outside and so forth. I think there has to be a number of these features. But
the cost of that is so high.
Is additional.
Initially,
no doubt.
it's high.
No
it's
doubt.
going to save you in the long run.
It's going to save you in the long run.
But
the core thing is having a structure. And the impetus for this, Christal, is of course the ash having destroyed a substantial amount of houses. The initial estimate was that I think there was about 600 to 700 houses that were damaged. Oh, they realized it's close to about 1,500 houses.
Let's take a quick call. Hello.
Hi, good morning.
Hi, good morning.
Coach Ready Cash.
Hi, good morning, Kurt. Welcome.
How are you?
I am.
Happy New Year.
Same to you. Happy New Year.
Yes. So we're talking cash loans, even though the season is finished. You know, we have a wind down. There's always something happening at court. So what we have right now is that if you apply for a loan of $5,000 or more, you can stand a chance of getting $100 cash back on your account.
Oh, nice.
So you just bring, So you just bring your ID, your 2 pieces of IDs, your most recent payslip, a job letter, and a utility bill, and you can get up to $100 in court cash back to your account, right?
Lovely.
And this court cash could be issued to you, or if you want, you can apply it back to your account if you have an account with us, and it will bring down your balance on your loan or your item that you would have purchased. So there's always something happening at court, as I always say. There's never a dull moment. So you bring in your 2 pieces of IDs, the most recent payslip, a job letter, and the utility bill, and you can you can get $100 court cash back to your account. In addition, we have our small business loans, where you apply for a loan and you get the same $100 cash back on your account. So for the small business loans, you need your 2 pieces of IDs, your most recent payslip, and 6 months bank statement. Sorry, not payslip. Sorry. The 2 pieces of IDs, your 6 months bank statement, and the utility bill, and you apply for your small business loan. Now the loan is only applicable to your account, to your business. So whatever it is that applies to your business, whether it is you're going to do renovation, you're going to purchase an appliance, you're going to restock, whatever it is that pertains to your business, the loan would only be issued once you can provide proof that this is what it's for as it relates to the business. So once you bring all your information, you get your money. Our turnaround is fast. It's within 24 hours. It's hassle-free. You have nothing to worry about. And, we have the best rate in the business. So I want to encourage persons to come to court, get your money, get your business going on board, get whatever it is. I know now is a slow time for persons and they're looking for the extra $500. You can get that done at court at any time.
All right.
If you need to find us, we're located directly opposite the post office in Kingstown. We open Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. And on Saturdays, we open from 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. All right?
Okay. Online?
Yes, it's www.readyfinancecaribbean.com. Yes, and you select St. Vincent, or you can call us on 456-1325. The extensions range from 2120 all the way through to 2123. Okay?
All right.
So come to Coast Ready Cash and get your cash. We are ready when you are.
All right. Thank you so much.
All right, bye-bye.
All right. You have a lovely day. And with that, we're going to take a quick break and come right back. Remember, if you're in a little squeeze this January, you need a little extra cash, make it Court Ready Cash. All right. Ready when you are. All right. Time for a little break.
I forgot.
Courts Ready Cash. Courts Ready Cash. It's really so easy, get it fast. In 24 hours or less, you need a cash loan. Well, Courts got something for you. Ooh, Ready Cash is hassle free, get it with speed. Ready Cash is here for your every need. I promise it's easy, believe. Courts got something for you. Ooh.
Courts Ready Cash. Ready when you are. It's the whole new world. Air cargo service to 3 flights weekly. Use providing excellent import, export, and e-commerce solutions to put you ahead of the competition. Rates are 400 local agents. SwiftPack Interbrine Cargo. Call 784-56.
Retirement, or just celebrating life. Established for years, breath dinner with an exquisite a la carte flex
Welcome back to Activated Mornings right here on WFM 99.9, the clean first sound. Remember the number to call 79997, WhatsApp 79994, and of course we're live on Facebook. We started out talking about that song from Brother Ebony, Nothing at All. Then we moved on to talking about the prefab homes that should be coming on stream. 50, first order 50. It should be. Wait, they should be here. That's what they said, right?
Yes, by March.
To arrive by March.
Yes.
Oh, so I mean, they're going to finish and yeah.
Because prefab, that's the whole thing. It means that they could be established within a matter of just a couple of months, as opposed to going with the other type of method of construction might be the end of the year. But no, prefab are supposed to be able to be easily erected, and within a matter of a couple of months, you could commission them. You know, the exact time and so obviously would depend on a lot of other factors, you know?
Yes.
But Christal, I want people to really understand that these other programs, 100% mortgage, you know, the ability to purchase land, you know, low income housing from the Ministry of Housing, those things are also going to continue too. I think that the estimates, as I was saying before the break, had been that there were only about 600 or so houses damaged. They realize there's over 1,000 that may have to be replaced. So that first 50, I am sure, is going to turn into 150, into 250 and more. And it will be a matter of how this trial of 50 works, how people like them, how people feel comfortable with them, and that sort of thing.
So if people don't like them,
Yeah?
if people don't like them, they're not going to continue.
Well, you see, one of the things, you brought it out, the cost of construction with a whole bit of supply chain, you know, the cost of steel has gone up. I mean, the cost of cement, the cost of other building materials and so forth. And one has to try and control that. So I was a little surprised when you said you thought that the prices were a little expensive. But,
Yeah.
you know, if you're able to
Because of how they were
if you're
sold.
able to get a no money down and so forth, you could really purchase this. Obviously, you got to have a job and you got to maybe have a partner as well, Christal, who can help you with that payment. But if you want to do it on your own, you could do it on your own. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
nice. You know, a partner could be
I could
a
just
sister. It could be your mother.
True.
It could be a relative. It doesn't have to be a male partner I'm talking about.
or
You know what I mean?
female.
Or female partner. I mean, it could be a relative who's a cousin and so forth who you trust. We ain't gonna fight your dog and so forth for it.
Yeah, that kind of
afterwards.
hard.
But you know, we like doing things on our own, and that makes it something a little harder. But I've known many mothers and daughters who have helped us out, or you have a relative abroad and so forth who may also be able to help you in some way. Somebody who's traveled, somebody who's in the army, somebody who's now in Canada and so forth, migrate. This is how people go about doing it. But I tell you, this is going to be a very impressive program because coming out of the Soufriere eruption, something must be done. There've been a lot of home repairs, roofs changed and so, but that's not enough for those persons who may have lived in some structures that couldn't withstand the weight of the ash on their roofs. There was total collapse of the houses. And some people are still in shelters. You know, some people are still in shelters today. You know, some people still in some community centers. And so I met a young lady who was in the Rose Hall Community Center. And, you know, she's probably waiting for one of these things too. But do you know between Kingston and Georgetown, there's not a lot of government land left. It's all privately owned. And the government can't go and buy land for $15, $20 a square foot.
Says who?
To go and build a house. No, because then at $15, $20 a square foot, it makes the projects ridiculous. You know what I mean?
But it's not impossible. If that is the value of the land and the owner of the land is asking for that because that's the market value.
Think about it. Think about it. 700, 800 square feet at $10 a square foot is $70,000. So if the cost of the house is $40,000 and the land is 70,000. Much less if it's $15,000 a square foot. You're talking about, 100,000 for the land itself, and we 40 something thousand for the house.
So it's not feasible for large projects like these. But
no, it's not feasible for large projects. But
paying market value is
but you
feasible
know
for
what?
smaller projects.
One of the ways I could suggest to people is start off by trying to acquire a piece of land. Even if you don't build there, you know what? You could sell it after somebody.
No, don't sell your land.
No, what I'm saying,
you
could sell your land to get another piece if you want, depending on where it is, you could sell it, you gain that $78 a square foot, and then you buy something else a little cheaper if you can get it. As time goes on, all prices go up. There's land at Arnesville Airport, but they're not going to build low-income houses on Arnesville, on E.T. Joshua Airport.
That's already been designated.
Business development down at the beach, you're going to see all kind of different boardwalks and all that kind of thing. There's some nice area going up on the new road. They built some new roads from Gomez going up Fenton, coming back to Green Hill. That's an area that really needs to open up. And then there's places like Mount Twin, where the hotel is going. There's still a lot of government land there where they had the project at Peters Hope. There may be some areas up in Vermont and so things like that, but there's not really a lot of land available. In North Leeward and North Windward, it's a ton load of land. You know what I mean?
Government land.
Government lands. And so they're able to do projects, but people love to see town. You know what I mean, as they say. People love to see town.
Who's closer.
So I'm a person. I like being a little further away in some of these more tranquil, more environmentally friendly areas.
Away from civilization, away from people.
Yeah. But Christal, if for individuals who are looking up there, St. Vincent is the right place. I can tell you, in other islands, you can't get land to build. Don't talk about South America. Don't talk about South America. I was looking in Brazil. Do you know almost 2-3% of people own virtually 90% of the land? That's why people have built on these covelos, as they call them, on top of each other. If you see like in those Fast and Furious movies, people literally how they live in these little concrete galvanized structures and so on. But St. Vincent's not like that. There's certain pride in this, and as a result, the public health issues, the availability of clean water, sanitary, having a toilet, to be able to, having a kitchen not next to someone else's toilet. All these things are very important, and that's the case in a number of other countries of the world.
So, I'm not sure if you're able to answer this. The release said that the 50 homes are purchased on loan, right? It said from the Demerara Bank of Guyana at a cost of $6 million EC at 7 years at 5% interest rate on the reducing balance.
Yeah.
So that means if this is successful, and so this is just for the purchasing of the 50 homes.
Yeah.
Outside of that, the government has to build the foundation for the homes and then fit them up, and that comes at a cost as well. So it's going to be beyond the $6 million EC for all of these homes. If this is successful, then we'd have to acquire funds through another loan.
No, the Ministry of Housing had its own budget, and there have also been various funds that have come through various agencies to help with the whole rehabilitation program. How exactly this one is being funded is not known. Whether it's local funds, they just had a bond offer and it's been oversubscribed, and a lot of people a lot of these big companies have been buying up the government bonds, all those things, whether that is going to be what's applied. But in the budget we're going to see today, it's going to have that on the housing and the purchase of these things, it will indicate how this stuff will be. But when you get a loan from Demerara Mutual, you ain't paying up all the money, 6 million straight away. That's being paid up over a period of time. So the amount of money outlaid immediately is not going to be 6 or 7 million. You know what I mean?
6 million.
It's not going to be 6 million in the transportation, all them kind of things. It's not going to be 6 million. It's going to be a smaller amount over a period of time that the government is able to finance. But the government is obligated to do this because of the disaster and trying to put things right again. And I am hoping that they'll be able to go back and get another, as I say, 100 more, 200 more, and really fix up. And Vincentians, they are going to add on. They are going to, if you have a 1 bedroom, that 1 bedroom is likely to turn into a 2 bedroom, you know, and a 2 bedroom is likely to probably over a period of time turn into 3. And it's one of the features of being a Vincentian, pride in housing.
Big homes.
And you know, one day, Christal, I would love to see you in one of those. Over the Christmas period, Cian offered he wanted to visit you. And I teased you a bit, and so he said, no. But I am sure that if you were to get a home of your own, I'm sure you'll be invited myself and Cian there and so forth. No, okay, all right.
Well, we won't have no space for anybody. We will meet at the bar somewhere.
Yes.
I'm just kidding. But big homes, I think, for me personally, big homes are a bit overrated.
Waste of time, I know.
Everybody living in one room, not seeing one another. You have to WhatsApp. Bring a glass of water for me, please.
But let me go on. I mean, I know you focus on housing, but you know what? Today, you're having the presentation of the budget debate. The Minister of Finance, Camilo Gonzalez, will be further presented. They had the estimates already. It's a $1.44586 billion budget. You know, significant. Of which the recurrent expenditure is about 974,000 approximately, and the capital is a whopping 471,000. That's where the housing thing is coming in. You know what I mean? In the capital expenditure. And you're going to see in the budget, they've already talked about in the estimate, there's about 150 new government jobs, of which, in response to that whole little crime wave and so forth, murders and so, 52 new constables are in that. And there's also monies for people, you know, one thing I like, you know, 6 sports coaches in different disciplines and so forth. I like that because sports is so important as also part of the whole anti-crime element and so forth. And, you know, and then the money is for all the other different things, the cruise ship terminal, you know what I mean? The preparation for the new acute care hospital at the top of the runway that we were just talking about, that whole area there and so. And I'll tell you something, in terms of what we're seeing with hotel development, in terms of, we know that the Maya Hotel is hiring right now. You know what I mean? The Maya Hotel, Diamond, you saw that, right?
I saw it several times, actually.
And then Sandals Beaches is well on its way. I expect that this year, all those people, I don't know the number, do you know the amount of workers who've already been employed and are now in the Turks and Caicos and St. Lucia, getting training, so that when the Sandals Beaches is ready, they're just going to come back and they're ready to go. So I think that's going to be an exciting project. And then the Marriott and the Holiday Inn is looking good at Diamond as well. It's really good. Then of course all the roads and the food security and agriculture, a lot of things. I'm going to listen to the budget today. It's going to start sometime around 4 p.m. With the throne speech by the Governor General, and then maybe by 5 You'll see the Minister of Finance really getting into it. This is something people should listen to.
Should.
It is a 4-hour thing.
Yeah,
And there are going to be some highs and maybe some little lows. But I think people will have a much better understanding of what the budget process is all about. And they have to understand. This is something that's gone through a lot of consultation with the unions, with farmers, with fishermen, with all sorts of different things. And I'm really expecting this 1.4 billion. Because you'll be surprised. Last year, we had a 5% GDP. This year, it's expected to be 6%. You wouldn't believe that a year after Lasso Free, right, Christal? Let's see.
Hello, good morning.
And happy New Year to both of you.
Thank you.
Happy New Year, brother. Happy New Year. It's wonderful hearing you.
Did Thompson answer your question when you say, and if people don't like the houses, if they're gonna build anymore? Did he answer that question, Christal?
Thompson.
Oh,
I don't remember.
I thought.
He didn't answer it. He went on to talk about the cost and the assistance that the people gonna get to help pay for it and other stuff. He never answered that question.
Yes, I could tell you something. I think what I went on to say, the initial set of houses they built at Peterborough Dell way back in 2002, 2003 were a former prefabricated house. And people love them. The anticipation is that people will love them. Now, you may ask the question if people don't love them. If people don't want them and no one takes them up, people say, I want that. I prefer living in a community center, living on a cot. Or I prefer living in the downstairs, my father's house underneath the shed or unfinished basement. But I think that you ask a good question, and I don't have the answer to you. I am going to say that I think people are going to scramble these up, and we are then going to be able to order more because the cost is within our grasp to be able to build many. If you build 50 houses, that's going to cost you $100,000. And the houses alternative cost $200,000. It then means you could only build 25. You understand? You know what I'm saying? For the same money. So, we are people who adapt and will add on and adjust as time permits. I don't know if you agree with that.
We mean add on, you said? Add on to the house?
We will adjust, we will add on. If it's a slope, we will dig out and do a basement, do something underneath, put the kitchen downstairs, another bedroom for our eldest son or whatever. We do all sorts of things like that,
I definitely agree with you because I told Christal the story already. I was on this tour bus going to the Duns River Fall, and the tour guide was showing us some big houses on top of the hills. So some of these houses took 25 years to build because they do a little until the grandparents started and the grandkids finished. It end up by big, beautiful houses. So. Yeah. I agree with you on that point. But moving on,
yes,
you're all excited about the different projects, right? The hotel and etc., the port and stuff, right?
Yeah.
You're all excited about those times, right? Better days, as Black Stallion say. Better days are coming, right?
Come out with it. Come out with it. Give me the punchline. I know the punchline is coming. Hit us with the punchline. Tell us.
We had promises before. We had the cross-country road.
Yes.
Started, but nothing developed there.
Yes.
Mass Campus Hill, the same thing. It started, nothing developed.
Yes.
We hear about the tunnel on the Cane Garden. It's just going on 22 years. We hear about Movie Town Mall. We hear about the Intour sports facility at the Glove Factory.
Movie Town Mall?
Yeah, and Israel was supposed to bring a Movie Town Mall.
I feel like that was a rumor.
all.
No,
I don't think.
you
No,
know,
he
my
had
memory.
discussion. Guy came to St. Vincent, to the head of
Yes.
that St. Vincent, had discussion with the government.
I'll
Movie
tell you.
Town Mall, Trinidad,
Can I?
opposite, yeah.
Yes.
Go ahead,
okay.
go ahead.
Good. You know, I'll tell you something. Government always faces this paradox. If you come out early and you tell people, well, we are contemplating this, or an investor has come to look at this, a biscuit factory, or some other kind of project, but it doesn't pan out, people will say, look, so long. Then, on the other hand, if you get everything cooked and curried and a ribbon around it, and everything is ready, and you come to people and say, next week we're starting that, people say, what? You didn't consult us. You didn't tell us about it. You know, you should have told us long ago about this. So you have the paradox. It's always best to tell people what your plans are and to be informed. That movie town thing was a Trinidadian investor. And I remember a number of people saying, no, we should not have the airport as a mall. So guess what? National Properties has converted Annesville former terminal into a mall. They've done it. You said it never happened. You don't realize that right now there's food court. So Movie Town may not have happened, but there's a mall there. Movie Town was part of a mall complex, as in Trinidad, where there's a movie house plus a whole set of other malls, you know, shops. And so we have the shops, but without a Movie Town, because guess what? Today, people don't realize, maybe Movie Town might work, but people hold out their cell phone and they look up YouTube and they get a video and so forth for free once they got Wi-Fi. You know what I mean?
You're not get the kind of movies you want, though.
You better get the movies you
You're
want.
not going to get the kind of experience of surround sound.
But then
it's 9:02. It's 9:02, so we got to stop.
Sure,
we got to
okay,
break.
right. All right.
All right?
Yes.
Call you can call back around 10 past.
Yes.
Come back, okay.
All right. Thank you so much. All right, let's go to the top of the hour. Coming up right about now is the ECC bank rates, brought to you compliments Bank of St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
Brick by brick, piece by piece, building with technology, helping wealth increase, starting small, building the future, doing more every day, doing more together. BOSVG, the bank we count on. BOSVG, our one bank together we're strong. Our nation's bank, standing long and proud. One bank, one voice, sing it loud. BOSVG. Hey, building our future. Doing more together.
OSBG, doing more together.
Good morning. 3 minutes after the 9 o'clock hour, it's now time for the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank's bank rates for today, Monday, January 9th, 2023. Brought to you compliments the Bank of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. The following are today's indicative rates in Eastern Caribbean dollars for key international and regional currencies. These rates will not apply to commercial banks' transactions with the public. The Barbados dollar 1.35, Canadian dollar 2.01545, Swiss franc 2.92145, Euro 2.88252, Pound sterling 3.28320, United States dollar 2.70, and finally the Guyana dollar 0.01333. Thank you so much for listening, and thanks to the Bank of St. Vincent and the Grenadines for sponsoring.
Brick by brick, piece by piece, building with technology, helping wealth increase, starting small, building the future, doing more every day, doing more together. BOSVG, the bank we count on. BOSVG, Our one bank together we're strong. Our nation's bank, standing long and proud. One bank, one voice, sing it loud. BOSVG. Hey, building our future. Doing more together.
OSBG, doing more together.
Thinking of winning the lotto jackpot? Well, there is an easy way. Combo Play. Choose 4 numbers from 1 to 36. That's a combo 4 at a cost of $64. Match any 4 of the 5 numbers and win the lotto jackpot. There's Combo 6, where you purchase 6 numbers for only $12. Match any 5 of the 6 lotto numbers and hit the jackpot. How about Combo 7? That's a purchase of 7 lotto numbers for $42. Match any 5 of the 7 numbers and you will win the jackpot. There are also Combo 3, Combo 8, and Combo 9 lotto plays. Visit the NLA headquarters in Pauls Avenue or WhatsApp 495-6886 for more details. Lotto, you have to be in it to win it.
Alan Smith and Family Bakery, the worldwide name for all your bakery needs, specializing in wedding cakes, birthday cakes, the world famous hard dough and light dough, multi-grain by special order, and now available baguette bread at all your leading supermarket outlets. And for that sweet tooth, currant rolls, jam buns, homemade sweet bread, guava and apple tarts, butter and oatmeal cookies, and for your savory needs, beef and chicken patties. Alan Smith and Family Bakery supplies bread to the Grenadines, Leeward and Woodward side of the island. Contact us at AlanSmithFamilyBakery@gmail.com. Call us 457-8317, 457-8550, or 533-0943. Located along the main road in Camden Park Industrial Estate, we are the healthy choice. All our products are made with 0 grams trans fat ingredients. Quality is our passion. We open Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 6:30 p.m. Saturdays, 7 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. Sundays and public holidays, 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. Thank you for your patronage over the years and for your continued support in the years ahead.
General Hardware still has the best prices on steel, lumber, and plywood. So go on, compare prices. And if by chance you find a better price, no stress. Just talk to the General, and they will beat that price plus give you special priority delivery. Yes, General Hardware offers free island-wide delivery on most purchases, so you don't have to worry about getting your goods on site on time. Plus, shopping at General Hardware is a pleasant experience with friendly, knowledgeable staff always serve. What more could you wish for, huh? So come to General Hardware for proper service, lowest prices, free delivery, and see why nobody beats the General. Nobody.
For over 20 years, Cubano Limited professionally delivers top quality products and exceptional service. Located in Sand Hill in Kingstown, we are open Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. and on Saturdays, 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. We supply animal feed, dog and cat food, animal supplements, a wide range of floral supplies, nursery pots, ground cover and shade cloth, and much more. We also stock a wide range of motor vehicle supplies, including automotive oils, filters for all vehicles, engine coolants, and much more. Email us today at Cubano_1@hotmail.com or call us today 451-2911 or 493-7175. Cubano Limited, professional, top quality, and exceptional service.
Introducing a new look for our award-winning Hyroon beer. The new Hyroon label, bottled and brewed in the gem of the Angeles, captures our radiant Vincentian sunshine framed in gold. It dives into the glistening deep indigo Caribbean waters and reflects waves scrolling gently to the shores of our black sands with a rhythmic pulse meeting our lush emerald green vegetation. The new logo fuses with the arch, a symbol of strength and support, a perfect representation of the City of Arches. It features the SVG diamond formation, perfectly blended with hops and barley, which gives Hyroon its distinct notes, aromas, and flavors. A crisp taste, enjoyed from fancy to the Grenadines. This new label celebrates the prize-winning superiority of our brew and represents the passion behind Hyroon beer. Brewed by Vincentians for Vincentians. Highroom Beer, available at all supermarkets, depots, bars, and restaurants. Must be age 18 years and over to enjoy.
WeFM reminds and encourages the general public and users of the Kittles Beach to keep it clean at all times. Discard of all garbage properly. It is illegal to remove the sand from the beach. Let us keep the Kittles Beach and other beaches across St. Vincent and the Grenadines clean so that you and I can enjoy it and marine life can survive. This is a message from WeFM 99.9, the clean, fresh sound.
Nothing else sounds as good as
WFM, the clean, fresh sound.
Queen's boy. Queen's calling raise up a little. I don't know if it's a little or a big ant's nest. I don't know if it's red ants or black ants or the other kind. I don't know. When he said that, when he was talking about the projects that were either never started or incomplete.
Yes.
It's something that's a.
You see, I think what is being suggested is that do those projects. Ladies and gentlemen, during financial crises, 2007, the energy crisis, during the pandemic, you have to reassess. If you find that you're doing okay and sadly there's a death in your family or your house burned down, you don't have insurance, you have to reassess your financial situation and take the right judgment. It doesn't mean a tunnel ain't gonna be done. It doesn't mean a stadium ain't gonna be done. It means that the Argyle International Airport was of such great priority. The port, the port was $100 million. Now it's 220. You have to build it. And it's going to have significant consequences on the supply chain and the cost of goods and so, coming into St. Vincent. It's going to reduce those costs. Schools that are being constructed. Are there schools that was said you are not supposed to construct, you ain't construct? The acute care hospital will start in earnest the end of this year, physically by early next year, early 2024. You know what I mean? You understand? But they got some additional design stuff. A host of the preliminary thing at the top of the runway. But think about it. The polyclinics have been built, the modern medical center, all these other facilities and so forth, they have been built, to help. And then, when you think about the hotel infrastructure that's being built, such as the Holiday Inn and what's going to be built at Marriott. Do you know the Marriott at Mount Twin is being built with $62 million loan from Taiwan? But guess what? That loan is a 0.75% interest rate. 0.75% interest rate. I mean, I tell you, I would love a loan at 0.75% interest rate. That's almost like a grant. You know what I mean? It ain't even 1%. It ain't 10%. It ain't 15%. Well, it's 0.75%. Less than 1%.
A grant you don't pay back. This one you have to pay back. A grant you don't pay back.
Yes, but that's why you get into a structure that when it starts to operate, the money that you start to receive can easily pay it back. You understand?
Hopefully.
Yes. So you don't want a 10% interest rate that every single year at 10%. If you have $100 million loan and you have a 10% loan, in 1 year, you know how much you got to pay back in that 1 year, and after 2 years, after 3 years, after 4 years, you know. But the point about 0.75% is really significant.
Right.
Somebody would have said, I was surprised he didn't say, you said you're going to build a hospital, right? A new acute care hospital. Well, that is going to be built, you know? And I find it sad that sometimes people look at what you have not done yet versus what you have already done. Just like we were talking about housing.
But I mean, how else could we hold you guys accountable?
Yes. So
for your promises,
yes,
for things
so
that you said are
how
going
about
to come.
housing? By March, 50 of those houses will be here.
Should arrive.
Should arrive.
Right?
Yes,
Everything is a should. Because I distinctly remember us being told that come the beginning of 2023 is when the acute referral hospital is going to begin.
Yes.
But now you're saying it's by the end of the year and hopefully next year physically.
I can tell you something. Do you know something? A pandemic never happened. Soufriere did not erupt. They should have done these things, started these things on April 10th after Soufriere erupted. You know,
No, but
Christal,
I mean,
there are always going to be delays for design issues, for consultancy issues, for review, making sure you've done it right. You got to make sure you do things right. And I agree.
Right. So it should be like once everything goes according to plan.
Everything will go. So once you say something will start on December the 1st, you have to start it December the 1st, or else you might as well get out of Dodge.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
You know, and you have no excuses. That's super erupted.
No. So here's another thing, right? Here's another thing. How do we know that you are just not finding excuses? How do we know that you are being completely 100% honest with us?
You may not hear the pronouncement because people are speaking all the time. As a matter of fact, you hear the Prime Minister on a Sunday, you hear other ministers talk about these things, but we don't always listen. We only get a soundbite, sometimes, because, the news agencies and radio stations want a particular clip, so they may not say the whole thing. A number of things may actually be said. I have found it out myself, I could be talking about many things, but there's just one thing that might be pulled out as a headline, and that's a little unfortunate.
I don't think you've answered my question, but let's take the call. Hello, good morning.
Yes, the Movie Town Mall is not just about a movie theater, They have Burger King, Popeyes, Subway, Ruby Tuesday, the Shack,
Thank you.
A whole bunch of other stuff.
Thank you.
Well, in the meantime, I think we have something better.
I'm telling you, he doesn't realize that we now have Gate 3. We have a whole set of mall. Couriers has out there. There's pharmacies and so on. Court was supposed to have gone out there too. You understand? But
well,
I tell you something.
If you didn't know,
we are not a Burger King type destination here. We don't eat those kind of things.
No, they have other stores. There.
Yeah.
Price Mart is bigger than all of them. Price Mart alone.
I agree. But can I tell you something? There are over 25 stores now out
Small stores.
Small. We want big.
They might be tiny, but they're local stores.
They look owned by Vincentians. Why do you want Price Mart and Burger King American stuff coming from Long Island? Why do you want Long Island stuff down here for? I don't. You're used to those things up there.
It's KFC locally owned.
But KFC is not going to be out there.
It's a franchise.
It's a franchise.
Right. So why can't that be a franchise?
Yes, but I agree with you. But I understand what you're saying. You're used to seeing those things up there. When you go out there, Burger King, you go to a Price Mart, you go to the, and when you come to the same place, you want to see those things. But guess what? We're offering you a renewed Vincentian exposure.
All over the Caribbean.
No, but
Burger King and Popeyes all over the Caribbean.
Can I tell you something? You go up to the food court and you will see 5 different entities producing some lovely Vincentian cuisine. I prefer that than the Burger King.
But that doesn't mean that there is not an opportunity. There isn't an opportunity for that sort of investment here. But we've had investments in the past for like Royal Castle, and Pizza Hut. We've also had, now I can't remember the name, but it was in the Sprott Brothers building.
Church
Church's Chicken? I think so. And for whatever reason, they all failed.
Yeah.
You see, it's the stuff we like. There's that store you go up into Vinlek. It's always crowded. What's the name again? And so forth. I love going inside there, getting my roti, and getting.
I remember the name, but I don't know it.
I'm getting my bakes and saltfish. We need come back to St. Vincent and eat some of those things. You can't get those things in like.
The Royal Castle. There was a robbery there. I think $25,000 robbery there.
I don't remember.
And then I think a little.
I know the full history.
Went out of business.
We're not gonna get into detail. But listen, I am saying to you, go ahead. Yeah, move on. Yeah, go ahead.
Moving past the mall, there's so much other things that were promised. The cross country road, the tunnel under Cane Garden,
yes,
Mass Camp at Sand Hill, the indoor sports facility for the people of Rose Place, the center for
wait 1 second. The what facility?
Indoor sports facility where the glove factory, Seth Mackey promised it at the 2010 election campaign.
Listen to me carefully. Listen to me very carefully. Anglican school had a fire, and they had to utilize that facility.
No, but you could get somewhere else.
Yes, of course they could get. Of course they could get somewhere. But you said at Rose Place. The point I'm.
The factory they're gonna put it there. Yeah.
Yeah, and then guess what? Guess what? The mass camp out at Sand Hill.
Mm-hmm.
Guess what happened there too? They started building. The structures are still there.
They're still there.
The quarry started to fall down, and it was deemed that it was a threat. This is where the research has to be done.
So they could have put it somewhere else.
They could have put it somewhere. They put it somewhere, and they use a number of different places. But the point I'm making is that things will change, and I think you are coming up with that. They should have gone ahead with the mass camp at Sand Hill.
You could go somewhere else.
Could have gone somewhere.
I think it's one of those things that should have never started.
It should. One of those things that probably should have never started.
Because that was a quarry.
Those sort of.
What about the cross country road? That's cross country road.
Well. Can I give you a different list? I won't give you a list.
How come you don't want to answer what he's asking?
No. I understand. Listen. I want to reorient you in a different way.
I think you should answer him, and then you should
be able to answer that.
Okay, well then, if you can't answer, then say no. I
can't answer.
Okay,
I can't answer it. But guess what? I want you to think about what are the things that did happen to go with the bias. No. I want shift, to end it up. What about the things like the Argyle International Airport, this new port facility?
Yeah, I know.
The acute referral hospital that's going to come, all the polyclinics and so forth. I mean, I could start going down the housing, low-income housing, middle-income housing, all these kind of things and so forth, home care for the elderly. People could go down the list of things that were promised and so forth. So if you find a few that were not done, I'll tell you something. Joe Biden and Donald Trump promised a whole ton of stuff. Let's go down the list of all the things that Joe Biden was able to obtain, that Trump was able to obtain, and so forth. I think in any culture you will find it. But if you feel that once somebody says something, it should be done no matter what, so that mass camp at is desirable, but in terms of finding a location in Kingstown, a new location where there is land that's available and so forth, I think that there are some challenges to that.
You could go out to sea, reclaim land.
Sure. But guess what? Right now, they are going to reclaim 48 acres of land for a new port down in Bottomtown. Right?
Not for a mass tent.
But not for a mass tent, but 48 acres of land for a new port, which is going to lower prices, which is of import, which is going to allow ships to be offloaded with new electronic cranes and so forth in a matter of hours, rather than having to take days to offload.
Up where?
Well, I tell you something.
No, they have plans for that.
Yeah. Have a mass camp instead of the port. Yeah. You know,
No. When after they build a new port, they could.
man, that's a nice suggestion. That's a nice suggestion. You know, write them and let's see them consider it and so forth. But I'll tell you something. In terms of the prospects of having additional docking for cruise ship to come, instead of 1.5 cruise ship coming, you could now have 2.5 or 3, or you can have because the current port will be taken over 1.5, I think. You know,
some of these things that you're promising.
Who promising?
You'll have to give some of the things that they're promising. You'll have to give them maybe 50 or 60 years in.
You're right. But look at the delivery. Look at it. Let's check in. Okay, then. I agree. I agree. But let us see if those houses arrive in March. You know what I mean? Let us see if the cats, the MRI machine that used to bellyache about and so forth, if that basically gets fully installed with, in time. Let us see a whole set of these in terms of people getting scholarships and so forth. I don't know. They say the glass is either half empty or half full. Sadly, sir, sometimes you come with the half empty kind of stuff, you know what I mean?
Anyway, let me call it for today. Goodbye.
All right, thank you very
so
much.
much.
Bye-bye.
You have to meet in the middle. Some say half empty, some say half full.
You know something?
Who is correct?
I'll tell you something. No. The idea is that there's some people who see everything from a half empty point of view. There will be some people who see everything from a half full point of view. You're absolutely right. You have to have that balance of ideas. But when you come and say, well, where's the cross-country road? Where is this? There's failure. Everything takes 60 years. Mm-hmm. That's not the experience. That's not the experience. You're seeing hotel development. You're seeing housing development. You're seeing health development. That's not 60 years. Anyway, I could be wrong. Maybe nothing has been done. You know what I mean? But the point about it, half empty proposal suggests nothing's been done.
So there are some people who will acknowledge what has been done and still highlight what has not been done. And there's some people who would know the things that have been done, but they just wouldn't mention because it benefits their agenda for whatever reason.
And you have hit the nail on the head, because just now he came back to say Movie Town was not just about the Movie Town. He probably didn't hear our discussion in between. It's all these other malls, these stores. I am satisfied that Vincentians have been able to go, and that the mall out there seems to be relatively successful.
But as you mentioned that entertainment investment in St. Vincent and the Grenadines is a very tricky thing. It's almost like a hit and miss for the number of clubs and the number of entertainment spots that have started and had to close down because of whatever reason. It's kind of tricky because Vincentian culture, we like new things, but after a while we tend to get fed up and we move to something else.
It's a 2-year cycle. It's a 2-year cycle, I find. I was so amazed that Aquatic Club used to last for so long.
Well, that's why I say hit and miss. You have to either, if it doesn't work for you in the first couple of months, then.
No, but I think that crowds move on. Young people and so forth, they want something new. Somebody used to say that there's an in crowd that starts there. And then other people start to come that people don't, and the first set of crowd then moves on to somewhere else.
It's the same set of people going all over the place. Too.
Same set of people going all over the place.
Well, not every, but you find that a business might fail because they come into the market appealing to the same customers that existing businesses are appealing to.
Our population size, we've never been a culture that eats out a lot at restaurants as an entertainment place. We do like shows, so artists who come in usually. But if there are 2-3 shows on a given night, somebody's gonna bust. You know what I mean? And that's
Maybe,
interesting.
maybe. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Christal.
Good morning.
Good morning. Dr. Thompson.
Yes.
Good morning. How are you all doing?
How you doing?
Good, thank you.
I just happened to tune in maybe 10 minutes ago, and you all got some patience. So we're supposed to be reclaiming land to build mass tent now.
Well, you see,
no, that's what he suggested.
No, but my point, my
you mean
point is,
sarcastic.
can that be a serious proposal? Really?
Off the top of my head, I don't think so.
So what is the cost, the benefit?
Yeah.
I mean,
Considering that,
I want to go back. I mean, because you want to build a mass tent, there are much more viable, sensible options. Why we suggest about reclaiming land to build a mass tent? But anyway, this issue about bringing in big stores or whatever, what is it, Price Mart or something?
And Burger King.
Okay, Burger King. But let me go to the big
the Price Mart.
mega stores, right? Economies of scale. Okay? People don't just come and set up these things by guess, you know. They do their market research. Okay? No, well, you know for sure, Dr. Thompson, and I saw it down here in St. Vincent some years ago, where they had like a machine recording the traffic by putting a cable across the road.
Street, yes.
Yeah.
Traffic study. Traffic study.
Right. So they have an idea of the flow of traffic, how many vehicles go an hour, a day, and so on. And then they do the extrapolation. If I put a gas station on this particular highway, you know, what percentage of these vehicles would stop to buy gas? The whole scientific thing, right? So people don't just do things by guess. Another thing, even in the big countries like America, for instance, you might have a Walmart decide, okay, they want to move into this small community and open up a big mega store, right?
Yeah.
What happens when they do that? They end up shutting down a lot of the mom and pop businesses.
Absolutely.
Right? Shutting them down. And then 5-10 years later, they decide, you know what?
Move.
This is not generating enough income for us and that. So they cut and run and turn the community into a ghost town.
Yeah.
Take years to recover or never recover. So we are a small country, and small business, by the way, in any country is what really drives the economy. We tend to see and recognize the big conglomerates, but they're not what drives the mom and pop and small family business that really hire the majority of people and take care of the economy to a large degree.
Absolutely right.
So we don't necessarily have to have a big superstore, you know, in order for us to feel important. And then when people travel, I guess there's a Walmart in St. Vincent. Well, how about somebody coming from somewhere and seeing one of our indigenous businesses and want to franchise it abroad? How about the reverse of what we're thinking about?
Yes. We have been indoctrinated to think that way, that whatever is in Long Island, New York, you know, should be what we have to install here too. And it's unfortunate in that particular way. But, you know, those are just people's views. I mean, I do want to agree that there are some projects that when you reassess the situation, there's something else at that time that's more important because of the circumstances. Soufrière. After Soufrière, it became necessary to push more housing.
But of course, and you have to take all that into consideration. But let me just say this, there's only one being that spoke and it was done. And I got enough. He spoke and it was done. And that's the supreme being.
Yes.
Humans are subject to all different types of events, whether natural, man-made, whatever, that may throw off your schedule.
Yeah.
And when it comes to construction, there are two things universally that affect construction: cost overrun, and the time frame.
Mm-hmm.
Because prices keep going up. You might say, okay, this thing's supposed to come in at $10 million. Okay, by the time you get the project started, the prices of everything gone at 10, 15, 20%. So we have to understand these things can't be set in stone. And we have to understand that. And we have to be reasonable.
Yeah. And you have to be flexible.
All right.
Thank you very much.
As you mentioned that in terms of the cost, I think the most recent example is the acute referral hospital. Initially, when it was brought to the population, it was brought at a particular cost.
Yeah.
And then we had to delay it for several reasons. By the time we got around to, okay, it's now time to resume and get things back in order, get things rolling, the cost of material went up. So the government had to go and look for additional monies before they could continue. So that's the most recent or the quickest example I can
reframe
give.
it? Can I reframe that in a different
Reframe it?
Reframe it. It would be nice if you could purchase 6-7 acres of land somewhere in Calaqua or Prospect or somewhere like that. The idea of moving Arnesville Airport to Argyle and the delays that ensued that allowed Argyle to open in 2015. That project where you had some concept designs and so forth, and then the look for funding and trying to find the funding and so forth, it isn't necessarily that it is because you delayed it, you know? There's some natural things that as you are building the Argyle National Airport and you don't have core funding from some source and you're looking for funding, and that had to be built, therefore it was not possible to really get other things done. In the case of the port, we do have specific funding. And now for the acute referral, you do have specific funding and you're able to move ahead with the thing. But in addition, can I tell you, there have been other things added. Looking at the designs and looking at the things, they have made a number of changes. The equipment that needs to be put in has been modified. If you built a hospital in 2000, as opposed to in 2022, I can bet you the equipment you would have in the year 2000, the equipment you have in 2022 would be very, very different. You know? You know what I'm saying? So it isn't as simple that you should have built it before and forget about the airport and have that, and therefore you would not have suffered any sort of delays. The airport itself was delayed. The port is delayed. Almost everything, the person said the cost overruns. If you could keep those things done, but you know, the supply chain issues are always going to kick in. So I accept your point. You know, I accept your point.
That was just an example.
Yes, I know.
If somebody says Price Mart is not a fast food place, it's a supermarket. With reference to the prefab homes, why can't these homes be manufactured in SVG? We are constantly complaining about unemployment. Here is an opportunity to create work and possibly export the same homes.
They can be, but who will do it? Bragsa is going to reconstruct it, but Bragsa, there isn't a company. These prefab things are being, a company is actually building them. And we've gotten a loan from the bank in Guyana.
From Guyana.
To purchase them.
Homes from Guyana.
Yes. In the same way that we purchased some prefab facilities that was constructed in Peterborough in 2002. We've done this before. Other countries, and Antigua, St. Kitts, Dominica, they've all done this before. It's a reasonable proposition to keep the cost down because the cost of construction. I would love if there's a private company starts a prefab company. But remember, that company will also have to sell to other islands as well, because you won't just get the market here in St. Vincent. And somebody asked the question, if they're not accepted, what do? You lose your shirt and so forth after selling the company? I just want to say some of these things. It's nice. We would love to do everything in St. Vincent, but there's a global economy, and sometimes it may be more cost effective to purchase it rather than trying to get a private sector entity to set up a company to do it. You know what I mean? Because the government should not be the one to do it. You understand? Government often fails at these things. We will have the example the government says they're going to do it and they don't do it.
Rewind and come again. Government fail what these things?
I think that generally there's a view that in terms of government trying to set up things and run things, right, doesn't work as well as if there's a private sector that has a greater, I would say, level of discipline and so forth, and can fire people when they do wrong. Christal.
So hold on.
Yeah.
I mean,
can hire the right people.
So the government don't have the power to hire the right people to carry out the jobs that they need to make sure that it is a productive entity.
Yes, sure they do.
But it didn't make it sound so at all.
Sure.
You didn't sell it very well.
Well, I'll tell you something. I think that the experience has been that in terms of business, from an administration point of view, running a ministry, government, and having oversight, government does that. But in terms of a business, running the business and having the business acumen to make tough decisions, I don't think that government is best suited for those particular type of things. There's some things they can do, you know, VINLEC, CWSA, and so forth. But in terms of running a business, I think it's best that you leave that for the private sector so that they could do. And that's what the person is asked about. Why can't Savings do it? But he's left it open. He's left it open for government doing it versus the private sector doing it. Which one do you think, Christal? Do you think government should build the prefab structures and then ask Baxter to erect it?
It depends. It depends, I think, on the industry. I think it depends on the time of the investment. But there is nothing to say that the government should not or cannot make certain investments within the private sector.
Do you know why Guyana is able to do it? Because Guyana would have all the lumber resources, being a large country that it is. It has those brown hearts and green hearts growing, and they're able to harvest them and so forth in a particular way. We don't have that resource. We don't have those. We planted a few mahogany trees and so forth, you know, every now and again to hold up some areas with landslide. We don't have those resources. So create an industry to import the lumber from Guyana to then set up a company here. You will find those costs when you cried out that stuff it's cheap. It's too expensive.
Christal. So they'll have to sit down and
Christal, I can tell you, if you have the resources there in Guyana and you are able to harvest them and construct the walls and so forth and ship them in on pallets so people could just erect them and so forth, I'm putting it to you, it's far cheaper than a company here importing the lumber and then putting them together and so forth. We don't have the lumber. We don't have the material.
I believe you. So it's not feasible. Somebody says, "Good morning, host. I think Mr. Queens has been extraordinarily ridiculous today. It must be the temperature up there today."
No. I don't put him down.
Let him.
I don't. No. Yeah.
Let me read the rest of it. Let him take that Burger King talk to Beckwith and see how that's taken.
But you know something?
You never know. It might
Christal, you go around the country and people have some wonderful. Why doesn't government build a factory to can mangoes? Why doesn't government build a factory to do this? Or why doesn't government do this or that?
Some of these ideas are good.
Some of these ideas are good.
Yeah.
But some of them are bad. You will lose your shirt. Government will lose their shirt, and that's been the experience of a number of governments over the years. You know what I mean? At the same time,
sometimes they might lose it because they're just not running it properly.
they're not running the place.
So leave it to the private sector. True.
Leave it to the private.
Yeah, you just give concession.
Other times, in terms of ideas, if you got
9:44, by the way, we got 2 minutes.
If you got 20 roads to build in a year, try build those 20 roads. Don't try and build 100 roads. You understand? You won't get through. You'll be fooling people and so forth. Don't over pad with a whole ton of projects and so forth. You have to be able to, and I know that's what Camila Gonzalez and so will be projecting this afternoon in terms of being able to get what you want done within a given year. Christal,
cross our fingers and hope to
cross your fingers, man. No, this is what this is. This is managed
because of the track record. We have to cross our fingers.
The track.
Yeah, but you even said right there are certain things that might happen throughout the year that's going to shift deadlines. I have to cross. I want to get you back
for the things that have been done.
I'm thinking about the things that
I know. That's why I want to.
I can't cross my fingers for things that already got.
Christal, the mistake that's been made is like what your Long Island. You are looking at what hasn't been done. The glass is half empty. No,
I am saying,
let's look in a balance
to what you said earlier, right? Realistically speaking, you might set a deadline for March, but something is going to happen, just like in our personal lives.
It's not about crossing your fingers.
Right. Yes, I have to cross and it is not a matter of lack of confidence in who is running it. It's just that realistically speaking, something might happen. So I'm putting my crossed fingers into the universe.
For me, let me put it this way. For me, being a little more involved, it is doubling down and getting it done. Overcoming the obstacles, overcoming the challenges and getting it done. I'm not going to look and say, I hope this person does it. It's making sure management and other things that's in place.
I didn't say I hope this person does it. I'm hoping it's done.
I think you say. Well, skepticism reigns. You know what I mean? Skepticism reigns, and we got.
I'm going off of what you said earlier.
And we got to
be
skeptics.
Okay, so I'll cross my fingers on my toes.
Christal, it's been a lovely morning.
It has.
Yeah,
it has.
Once again, happy.
Not so much drama like the last.
Happy 2023. Happy 2023.
Thank you so much.
All the best.
Same to you. Have a wonderful morning. All right. We're going to head into what are we going into now? Community Dateline is brought to you at this time. It's 9:47. We're just about 2 minutes behind, but thank you so much for joining us on the live. Thank you for listening.